that cannot go on the meetup site. And a lot of people who can't come to the meetings will go and watch the video. Wonderful content. So am I ready to turn it over to you?
You are?
Okay, Corian.
Hey guys, welcome. It's really great to see such a big crowd here, to see such great response from folks. Before I introduce the speaker, I want to just make sure that we're clear on a couple of the things about Nevada County Online. That we're a volunteer-driven organization, which means if you see a role for yourself helping us out with organization or promotion group or anything like that, please talk to Machin, Susie, or myself to get involved. Secondly, I'm the speaking coordinator for the group, so I'm happy to introduce Chad in just a second here. But if you have any suggestions for other speakers that we could bring in, either businesses that have had online marketing success that we could work with them to do a case study, or any speakers that can talk about marketing topics, whether it's internet marketing or traditional marketing, and just talk to me because I really want to get out there. I want to bring people in from a variety of different areas, both geographically and topically. So, that said, Nevada County Online is here to provide a fertile community for our business members to learn internet marketing and to share their knowledge. We have to be out of here at 12:30 sharp today. So I would encourage people, though, if they want to spend some time networking, getting to know each other, please just step outside and keep the conversation going there. All right, Chad, come on up. I can give you a brief introduction as you can. So, thank you and welcome. I met Chad through Sacramento Business Connections, and I kept hearing his name regarding his ability to get local businesses to market online. And that really has been a growth industry because Yellow Pages don't work anymore. And there's a lot of businesses that are working to wake up to that fact and figure out what do you need to do to get found on Google Maps or to get reviews and people to find you in Yelp and other local listing services. Chad has a business called Champion Online Marketing. It's at championonlinemarketing.com. His information is on the website, and I encourage you to spend some time after the presentation to check in with him. If you have a local business and you want to get found, you want to get more people into your storefront and your website, Chad's the guy to talk to. There you go.
Thank you, Corian. Who here would like to get a few hundred more to maybe a few thousand more visitors to their website every month?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Who here would then like to turn those into actual real leads and paying customers? Step 2, maybe a few thousand more dollars of revenue for your business. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. I know there's a lot of things you can do, like having a nice lunch, working at your jobs or in your businesses, and I know you have busy schedules, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here. I'm going to do my best to make sure that's well worth your time and effort. My name is Chad Nelson. I've been a business owner and entrepreneur for 17 years. I've personally generated millions of dollars in revenue. I'm president of Champion Online Marketing, and we help companies increase their visitors to their website by hundreds of thousands of %, and many of them generate additional thousands of dollars in revenue on a monthly basis. So the things I'm going to talk about today, the techniques and strategies, are the things that we actively do for companies right now. They're proven. They work. They will work for any company, in any industry, in any size, in any geographic place. So if you're wondering if they will work for you or your business or your website, the answer is yes, they will. So we don't have a clicker today. So Matt's going to be my human clicker, so we'll get through this as quick as we can. But obviously, the topic is how to dominate your market online. Let's go ahead and click in here. And there's basically 2 facets. Go ahead and click. Is we want to generate web traffic, as I mentioned in step 2, is that we want to connect and convert those into real leads and paying customers. Now, the focus of my talk, most of my talk today is going to be on generating traffic, and that is step 1 of a 2-step process. Hold on for 1 second, you're fine right there. And that is to turn those into paying customers. And I lost my spot with that, so let's just go back over here too. Oh, I know, I want to ask you, as far as the gauge, the level, who here would consider themselves an expert? Maybe they handle this SEO for their own company, or they own a digital marketing firm already, or something like that. Okay, how about who would be middle of the road? You're not a beginner, but you do have some knowledge, maybe know some technical terms. Okay, thank you. Who would be kind of a newbie or beginner? Okay, so we have a range. So I'm going to try and hit things that hit everybody's level. Some of them will be some basic things that we do, and we'll go on up to some advanced techniques so everybody gets some value. If you have some questions, I'm happy to try and answer them as we go along. However, we are on limited time. If it starts to drag out too long, we'll maybe hold those till the end, and my goal is to have a good 10 or 15 minutes some Q&A at the end. So let's knock out a couple of terms here. Number one, let's just make sure we all understand what the term SEO means. Go ahead and click. We all know it stands for search engine optimization, right? So click it one more time. So that's a process of improving the rankings of a website in the internet search results in the search engines. If you don't know what SEO means, that's all right. Half to 60% of the business owners I meet with don't know what SEO means. Basically, it's just a way, go ahead and click, of making sure that your website shows up higher in the search engine optimization. So now that we're all on the same page, because I'm going to use that term SEO a lot today. We're only really concerned about 3 search engines when we do this, Google being number 1. And actually Ask and AOL use Google. So Google has about 2/3 to 70% of the market. Bing and Yahoo are about 30% roughly behind them. So what we want to do is Google has the most advanced algorithms and the most sophisticated way of being able to rank. So that's where you want to focus because that's where you're going to get most of your business. Whatever you do for Google, you're going to do well with Bing and Yahoo as well. But this is going to be focused on things we know that if we work with Google, all the other things will follow. As far as the areas that we're talking about that we're looking to rank our clients' websites with this talk today is there's 2 different types, broad categories of search results. So this is a SERP. Sometimes you might see that, S-E-R-P. This is a search engine results page. And what we have here is up at the top, we have our paid ads, and over here we have our paid ads. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that, but these are also called pay-per-click. So if you're paying $10 for this, every time somebody clicks on that, you're going to pay $10. That's how Google makes money, by doing paid ads like newspapers, radio stations, TV, same thing. The area we're concerned about is going to be in this middle area here. This is referred to as the natural or the organic results. And by the way, for every click that's on a paid ad, there's about 8 to 8.5 clicks in the organic area. So if you can rank your website up here in the organic area, the unpaid results, much better. People have an instant, you have instant credibility. I think you've gotten there legitimately or something when you're in here. Here, I could say I'm an HVAC expert, and this afternoon I could be the top ranking guy in Sacramento if I'm willing to pay for it, or Nevada City or Grass Valley as an HVAC, as a realty, as a website builder, whatever I want to, if I'm willing to pay the money for those clicks. But if I get up in here, somehow I've gotten here, which is true, I've gotten here on merit, I'm in business, I'm doing things right. You have you've already broken down a lot of the walls with your clients and potential clients that are looking for you. Yes?
All right, so if you, let's say you start out and you pay for your ads,
Yep.
right? Then can you become organic with those clicks? How does that work?
Well, there are some things that say, read some things that say that paying for ads sometimes will help your organic, but they're 2 different things. And organic, first of all, I don't have anything against pay-per-click. For any marketing gets you business and puts dollars in your pocket. If you want instant traffic right away, pay-per-click will do it for you right away. You could be ranking for your website right now. Organic can take time depending on how competitive it is. Sometimes you can actually get some results in a few days, 30, 60, 90 days. If it's super competitive, sometimes it takes several months. And if you need traffic right away, you can get it in the paid right away, but they're 2 separate things. Does that make sense? Okay, so the question was, do these have anything to do with each other, or will these go over to organic? No, our organic and our paid are completely separate. Now, within the organic area, we have 2 different types of results, and this is going to kind of be important. So I want to cover this. These are kind of the results that have been there since the beginning of time. Our regular results, our natural results. We also now have the Google Local Maps, Google Plus. Google's gone through a lot of variations. Google Plus is really what we want to focus on now, where they've gone. But these are the local ones where they have a little bit, it's kind of hard to see, where they have the little balloon here, and you can click on it, and they usually have the map. Okay, so that's our local or our Google Plus listings. So those are the different types, and there's some different things. There's some things that you need to do. We're going to cover to be able to get your website ranked here if you don't know how to do it. And the things we're going to talk about are going to help both of these. So I think we should be okay on the terms of what we're going to use. If you're still wondering whether or not your business can benefit from being online, if you have a local company, big study saying that 90% of consumers go online to look for local products and services. So I don't care what you do, there are people out looking for what you do. Some industries obviously more, but I would like to say if your long-term business plan and staying in business does not include being in a market where up to 97% of new people that have never heard of you before are looking for you, then you might want to revisit your long-term business plan. This is apart from referrals, testimonials, upsells, cross-sales, all those things, customer follow-up that we should be doing. But when new people are looking for what you do, if you're not here, they don't know you exist. If they're searching online, they don't find you, they cannot become your client or customer or patient because they have no idea who you are. Next slide. Now, one of the other things that's happened here in the last couple of years is about over 93% of people, of internet searchers, choose a company that's on the first page of the search results. So this is good and bad. This has a good and a bad side. Number one, the hard side is you've got to be up on the first page for your keywords that are really important for you. So internet marketing, SEO, and local SEO is about being really good about focused terms that really describe what you do that people are out there actively searching for your product or service. It's not about being pretty good or good about a bunch of terms and ranking on page 2, 3, 4, and 5 for 20 terms, but I've seen companies literally transform their local businesses by being on the first page for 6 of their top terms, or even 3 that people are searching for. So we want to be really focused. The other good thing is you're only competing with a little bit more of a limited pool now. In the old days, you might type in a Grass Valley attorney, you could get somebody or Nevada City, you could get somebody in Nevada. You could get somebody in New York. You could get a large firm that was on the forefront of some of the SEO. Now you do that, you're going to have a full page of companies that are going to be pretty local. They've done a really good job. So there's no reason to go 2, 3, 4 pages deep anymore. If you've got 10 to 13 on most pages of results that are local already, you can look, and most people look and call maybe 2 or 3 and make a decision on who they want to go with, maybe you can make an appointment. So what we want to do is we want to be really good, be on page 1, and be very focused about the terms that you're going after so you can be really good at those terms. All right? What can this do for your business? I'll just put up a couple of case studies of clients. Go ahead and click it one more. This is a local company in the Folsom area. Before they were doing SEO, they had about 57 visitors a month. One more click. Afterwards, within the first 7, I think this is 7th month in, 332 and a half. So about a 604% increase. That's now averaging over 700%, and a tripling in business, and hiring 3 extra employees. And that's what gets you on the first page of 3 of their top terms. One more example would be, one more click. This is this is a retail type business that basically had no traffic, on up to averaging 1,397 visits to their website a month. Do you think that made a difference for their local business? Went on to 2013 to being their best year ever, to hiring a salesperson and making plans to opening a second store from struggling. So when I say that if you can rank for some of your terms for a local business, it can have a dramatic positive impact for your business, and it really can. So let's go to the next one. So how do we get to page 1? First page. Do we have any guesses? Anything that people would like to? Yes.
Using video.
Video's a good one. So we have video. Any other suggestions about what we can do? Blogs. This pen's not too big, but we don't have a real big room. Blogs. What else can we do to get our web pages to rank higher?
The whole Google Plus infrastructure system.
Google Plus. We'll cover some of that. Very good one. Any other? Thank you, by the way. Yes?
Frequently updated content.
Yep. Updated content. Somebody else is going to raise their hand.
Other websites linking your website to reference.
That's right. So I'm going to just write links to make that easy, okay?
Actually, YouTube.
YouTube, and that kind of goes with our videos here. These are all excellent ways. These are all hitting the nail on the head. Let's go one more slide. The 3 that I'm going to focus on today, the 3 pillars that I like to call to internet marketing are: number 1, content. This has become much more powerful, especially even within the last few months. We can discuss in detail later if you'd like a little bit. There's a couple updates called Panda and Penguin that have happened, and something recently called Hummingbird, which is a complete algorithm change where they have a new algorithm that makes this even more important. Number 2, social signals. When SEO first came out and social came out, you had social over here, social media. And there's also, besides social media, there's other things. Social distribution sites, Flickr, they call them 2.0, Reddit, Delicious, websites like that. Over here we have SEO. Now we have a little bit of overlap. You don't have to have a full-blown social media campaign, but being active in social media and having social signals is certainly going to help your rankings. Number 3 is links. In the past, now these are links, so in the past, links was pretty much the only way to rank. And we'll get into that in a minute here when I get into links, but that used to be about the only thing that you needed to worry about. Now that's gone the other way, and actually for some clients we are removing links. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But first, before the 3 pillars, there's a few things I'd like to do. One more click, Matt. First things first, go ahead. Let's talk about a few things that we should do before we get into that. That's kind of like your monthly things that you should be doing. Content, links, and social signals. This is kind of like the foundation for your home. Let's talk about that. No matter how beautiful of a home you've made, if you have a crappy foundation, you're going to be in trouble, right? So let's get a good foundation. There's going to be keywords I want to talk about a little bit, local listings, and on-page optimization. So I'm going to give some tips. I go a little bit technical. I can answer some questions, but I don't want to be too overwhelming. So let's just, basically, those are some really important things that we need to cover here. So let's go ahead and click the next one. One more, targeted keywords. So keywords can be a single keyword or phrase. So for example, when I use the word, sometimes this is confusing to people that are newer to this, and I know we have some new people. When we say keyword, it's really a keyword phrase. It can be a single word or it can be a chain of words. So that question will come up, I'll say, hey, we're going to do Folsom RV repair. Check, that's 3 keywords. Now that's one keyword. It's a keyword or a keyword phrase. Make sense?
Is that because you put quotes around it?
No, I just put quotes around it just so that you knew what it was. But if you're going to rank, say I said you wanted to rank for your top 3 keywords, Tim, what do you do? Let's just say randomly, it could be Folsom RV repair in Folsom, and
Well, you put those keywords in your content.
that's, you want to put those in your content in other places. So those are considered individual keywords, even though they have multiple words in them. I'm using the word keyword to be a single word or a keyword phrase. I just want to be clear.
Like long tail keywords?
That's also, the longer it gets, we call a long tail keyword, which gets more specific. So the advantage, give me 2 more clicks here. The advantage, we don't want to be too broad or too narrow. And is it Maeve?
Yes.
Maeve brought up long tail keywords. So that's a good point and a good question or comment to make. We don't want to be too broad or too narrow. We don't want to just say insurance. That could be a lot. And we might not even want to say liability insurance. We might want to say homeowners insurance in Nevada City or Grass Valley auto insurance. The broader you get with your keywords, the more competition, also the less focused your buyer is. If somebody types in mortgage versus mortgage broker or mortgage broker in Grass Valley, who is the most serious person out of that group?
Third one.
Right? So that's a more specific search. That's somebody who's probably very serious about getting some information or looking for somebody. Yes, Jan?
If you have a long one like that, would the search engines find the individual words also?
Jen asked if you have a long keyword like that, will they find the individual words also? Yes, because if you have Folsom RV repair, you still have Folsom RV, you still have RV repair. But I definitely would recommend, so the answer would be yes, but I would definitely recommend having your local or geo modifiers in with your keywords. So whatever areas you're wanting to rank for, if it's Grass Valley, Nevada City, Antelope, Auburn, wherever it is, you want to have those in there, because if you say mortgage broker, that still is in there. Why not add Nevada City if that's where you are and that's where you're trying to get your clients? That's going to allow you to rank. We're talking local rankings here. Is our focus. We got a question here.
Yeah, so in this example, if you put Folsom Pizza in,
Yep.
would it be detrimental if I also added another keyword, just pizza?
It would not. It wouldn't be detrimental. But you want to try and have your keywords together as is if you can. As is if possible. That means exactly. But sometimes you can't do it. It just doesn't make sense. You have to add what we call a stop word in there, like in, of, for example, looking for a pizza, pizza in Folsom. Sometimes you need to add a small word, but if at all possible, keep your keywords as is and mention them exactly as they are in your content. I'll go over some best practices with that in a minute. Yes, Roger?
Weird terms, because your business is so unique. The word that came to mind is going to be heel bunions.
Heel bunions.
I'm a man who just specializes in heel bunions.
You love heel bunions. Okay. All right.
But nobody's looking for heel bunions.
Well, they might be, and you might be surprised. The good thing is about being weird like that is you're not going to have a lot of competition. Now you might be able to rank in a larger area outside of your local area.
But the better one might be foot.
Yes.
That's right, podiatrists or alternatives to podiatry, or that's where you want to do some things, look some things up, or foot pain, or a callus on my heel. What is this? Some different things like that you might want to explore in the more general terms. We'll do one more, then we'll move on here.
You want to have as much as possible, go for volume of words as well?
Volume of words, we're going to cover as far as volume. Yes, there are some minimum requirements you want now. This is part of the updates as far as words that you're going to have on your webpage. I've got a slide with best practices as far as what you want to have.
Something to do with what you do.
As far as keywords, you can, yes, one of the best ways is to brainstorm what you think you would want. In fact, let's go ahead and go to another slide here. So as far as keyword research tips, small variation, Okay, so let's go to the next slide here. We kind of jumped ahead on this. One more. Search engines make a distinction between singular and plural. So let's click one more here. For example, if you do birthday card versus birthday cards, you will show there'll be more search results. Go ahead, another one. Also the order of keywords. For example, pizza Folsom is searched 100 times more in Folsom, I know, than Folsom pizza. So sometimes being focused on the order of the words can make a big difference as well. So what I would recommend, just as an easy way to get started, move on from keywords, go ahead and click, is one more time, is just to use Google's free keyword tool. There are some paid ones out there. Word Tracker is a big one. And also wordtracker.com will allow you to do some free searches with it, some limited free searches. But if you just want to get started, and I would suggest getting the Google keyword tool right away. Reason being is Google is starting to hide some of their keyword volume figures, and right now you can still get some numbers on your volume. Yes, Corio?
Quick note, they've changed the name. So if people search for it, it's the Google Keyword Planner.
Okay, Google Keyword
Tools.
Planner. So if you just do a search, I used to have the URL out here, but if you do free keyword, Google Keyword Planner, if you have an AdWords account, you can get to it in there. Generally, you're going to have to log in. You can do external. Do they still have it where you can type external tool and just get to it, you know?
It's only, so Keyword Planner is a tool for Google advertisers so that they can spend more money on Google.
Okay.
But you don't have to spend money on Google. You do have to create a Google AdWords account. You don't have to start spending on it. Just get through the gateway, then you can start using the tool.
So just register for a Google AdWords account, and then you'll have access to this for free. And again, as Corian said, just because you're registering doesn't mean you have to spend a cent. If they don't have your credit card information, they can't charge you. Just go ahead and register and use their tool. Go one more click, see what I have next. So enter the keywords. So this is the brainstorming you have. And then you can have on there, I'll say other keyword ideas. And sometimes you'll kind of daisy chain around. You'll find some words that you hadn't thought of. The other thing you can do there is you can enter some websites. So you can put some competitors' websites in the Keyword Planner tool. And it'll scan their website and look for some keywords. So it'll really give you some different ideas. Then you can also get the exact search volume. So for now, you can get the search volume on these words. Which is where, for example, if you were in the legal field, you probably want to use attorney versus lawyer if you're going to be, focusing your efforts, because many more people will type in, for most words, attorney versus lawyer. So there are certain nuances you can pick up. Again, you're not going to want to try and be good at all these words. Pick some of your highest volume words and get really good at those and start ranking on the first page. That's our goal here. Next. Local listings. So let's jump, just as a refresher, this is just a little snippet from that page. It's a little fuzzy, but basically I just want to remind us, when we talk about the local listings, we're talking about these, in Yahoo and Bing have them as well, the little picture with the map. So to be able to, click one more, to be able to show up there, one more click, you have to claim your local listings. It makes it sound like it's real hard. It just means you have to go and verify that you're the owner. So if you have not gone to Google, Yahoo, and Bing, and you have not received a PIN number via text or via mail on a postcard and gone in and entered a PIN number, you have not verified your local listing. So the first thing you should do, and I wrote some URLs up here, by the way, at the end. If somebody wants to email me, if you don't want to worry about writing all these down, any of the resources or websites I can put together an email. If you just want to send me an email, my last slide has my email address. I have some cards back there. Just write NCO resources. I'll copy all of these. I'll email them out to you. Let's go ahead and click. So for Google, it's google.com. I will just go to Plus Business now. One more click. If you choose, this is some of the stuff we talked about, Corian, is if you choose a local business or place category now when you're doing your Google Plus page, you will also now appear in the search results. If you already have, for example, I had a Google, and it's gone through different names of local maps, other things, but if you already have a listing, you have not done Google Plus, Google generally will automatically make the Google Plus available to you. So if you log in, for example, to your, this is some advanced stuff so people have it, but if you log into your Gmail account, they're supposed to automatically have it available. Let me see if I have one up here. So if you come up to your Google Plus account, see how I have the Chad Plus up here? Yeah. I'm not hooked up online, but I was looking at this earlier. If you click on that, it will go to now your Google Plus profile. Will allow you to register a Google Plus for your existing listing. So log into your Gmail and look for that little plus up at the top here, right there. It'll say, John Plus, Shannon Plus, David Plus, whoever you are. Then you can go in through the process. If you already have a verified listing, you want to make sure that that's connected with your Google Plus profile. That's all you have to do for your Google Plus page. And then you can have a Google Plus business page, which is something like this, and then you can start posting articles and things like that on your Google Plus business page. So that was just a quick side, and I see a hand raised. Give me 1 second here. Let me get back to my slideshow here. Right now. Oh, sorry about that. Right back on? Okay. I saw a hand here. Yes.
Yeah, so if your business is online in general, and you can service people anywhere, would you have a local address?
Well, you're supposed to be able to service people at your place of business if you want to show your
Which I
address.
can.
So you can still do that, but you can then leave it. If you do not have people at your address, I would select Google Recommends, and I always go against them. They have the smartest people in the world with the most money in the world, and eventually they're going to catch you. If you don't have people come to your business, hit the hide my address and say that you don't serve people. And it still will allow you to input your address, your local address, so you can get into some of the local rankings. But unless people are really coming to your business, you're not supposed to have it listed, your address there. You're supposed to let them know that people don't come to your address. And it might be good for a few months, it might be good for a while, but at some point they're going to catch it. And the last thing you want to have is for that to disappear, and you're trying to send it an email to this big behemoth and hope they straighten your stuff out. Yes, Patricia?
So I do some work for not-for-profit, so people don't come to us, they join our not-for-profit association. How is that, is that okay? We just say, no, we don't have a place?
If they never come to your physical place, you can still have your address, they can have access to your website and all that, but on your local, we're just specifically talking about the Google local listing right now. Just make sure you select that people do not come to our place as a regular course of
Right,
business.
that we're, yeah, okay.
That's
They're
right.
all over the place, but there isn't.
Okay, let's go ahead and click this. So just click through this, and then one more. So here's your Bing. Oops, or we can go back. So there's, for Bing, if you want to do it, you can also do searches for all these. To register my local business in Bing, register my local business in Yahoo, register my local business in Google. And you can find some addresses to these again. Feel free to write these down, take a picture. If you want to send me an email, I'll send you all of these links, so it makes it easy for you. Let's go to the next one. On-page optimization. And how long am I supposed to do it till?
You have got until about 12:15, so you got 35 minutes.
Okay. We'll keep track here. If we get too many questions again, I'll bump forward, and I'm happy to hang out afterwards outside and answer questions. On-page optimization. Let's go to the next one. When we say on-page optimization, I mean on your page of your website. So on your websites, there's certain things that we can do to put to help your cause a lot by making your website as attractive to Google as you possibly can. Now, let's go one more click. I'm trying to remember what I have here. Okay, so where should actually I'm going to bring up a point. If you want to rank for a keyword, you better have it on your website somewhere. Okay, now that sounds funny, it sounds obvious when I say it, but I can't tell you how many times I'll see a CPA say, we never get audits. Audits are big ticket items for these companies that have big loans, have to do audits. Not an audit like for a personal loan, but for a large company with a multi-million-dollar loan. You don't have the term on your website. How can a computer tell that you want that business if you don't have it there? So make sure you have your keywords. So where should we be optimizing our keywords on our web pages?
It's going to say the H1 tags.
H1?
And H2, H3, your body.
Yep.
First paragraph, all of that.
H1, H2, on into your content. We'll just put all those. Anybody else?
What is the H1 and H2?
We'll cover that in just a minute, and that's getting a little on some of the advanced terms, but we'll cover it in just a minute. Yes?
Alt tags for images.
Alt tags for images.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that also.
Okay, Matt?
In the URL.
Yes.
In the URL. The URL, if we don't know, is the web page name, right? So if it's Champion Online Marketing, that's my URL. Champion Online Marketing / Folsom SEO Company would be for a particular page. Every page has an individual URL. Anybody else?
Title tag.
Title tag, very good one. Title. All of these are all great answers. Let's go click one more. So, as a start, we want to have it in our title tags, our header tags. Our header tags, these are our H1, H2, H3. I don't have a slide of what that shows, but basically when you have a website with content, the first line can be in the bigger font, like a headline. That's called your H1 or your heading tag, right, Gene? Okay. So that's what you want to have. You can put your keyword in there as well. That's one of the top things that as Google's spiders and Yahoo Bing crawl your website, they'll look at your H1 tags. So you can put that in there. Yes?
Is there any of this that you have to actually go into HTML and do, or can you do most of this, say if you have a WordPress site, you can do most of this through their editor, their text editor?
Good question. The question was, can you do this through WordPress, or do you have to go into HTML? If you have a CMS system, a content management system like WordPress, which I love and I would recommend to everybody, is WordPress. You can go straight into your CMS and do that. There's some really good plugins too. I don't know what you like. Yoast is a very good one. And you can input some of these and it will automatically put it in the H1 code. But you can actually, like in Word, you can type in, Grass Valley Mortgage Company. You can highlight it from a drop-down window, hit heading, and it will automatically put the code around it for you.
Okay, just to clarify, CMS, that's not the regular editor that pops up?
I'm sorry. So CMS just means Content Management System. That is the thing to describe, for example, WordPress is a CMS system where it makes it real easy. You don't have to know code. You can go and manage your content in more like a Microsoft Word type environment. It's just a general term.
Got it, thanks.
Okay. Body text, again, I can email this to people, and your text, your images, which are your alt tags, your meta tags. I'm going to cover a couple of meta tags. Those don't really help for ranking anymore, but there's two important tags that you want to have. The other one I think I don't have on here is our URL, which Matt mentioned earlier. Is every page has a different has a different URL. So what you don't want to have for your page is the default. For example, let's use WordPress. You don't want the default / page 163. It's just going to assign it. Now WordPress is pretty good because actually whatever you write in the title, it'll take. But a lot of people, if you look at websites that see it all the time, they'll have something like that. They'll have, Grass Valley Internet Marketing Company / page ID = 33. Why not have Grass Valley Internet Marketing Company / local SEO? You can go in and customize those, and if you're using something like WordPress, it makes it very easy to change those. Let's go ahead and click. So the only couple tags I want to look at real quick is for meta tags, is your title tag. And the reason being is your title tag is what shows up right here in the internet search results. So you want to give some thought to what you're putting there, your title tag. Let's go one more click. And then your meta description tag is what goes in here, your description. All right, so if you're using something like WordPress, it's very easy to put in your title and meta tags in there. You can type them in. That's what's going to show up. Yes, Lynn?
I am totally new at this, so
Yep, well, this is-
you're in the headlight look here.
Yep.
Where is that made?
Where is this made? Well, if you know
Where is your title?
HTML, you can do HTML, but for the purposes of this, I'm not covering all this. I'm only going to go into what I would use as, which is WordPress. For WordPress, you're going to log into your WordPress site, and I can talk to you a little bit more after, but this is just something that's, we can't quite cover everything, but you want to get into WordPress, it's fairly easy. There's some places to do it. All right? Let's go next. I would love to, but we have 1 hour and not 6, so I
Hey,
can't.
Chad, let me throw one thing out there.
Yep.
I'm teaching a 5-part internet marketing class starting at Placer School for Adults, starting this upcoming Monday, going for 5 consecutive days. A few of you here have taken my classes. We get into a lot of details. We do a lot of hands-on work. So if you want to save some of your questions for either asking Chad afterwards, or if you have a lot of questions, come talk to me. You can go to Corian.com/classes. That's where they're listed online. It's a really great value to learn a lot about this stuff.
I would do that, Lynn.
Not to steal your thunder.
That's okay. I would definitely do that, Lynn, because there's a lot of small things like that that you'll pick up. We'll try to do. That was a very good question, though. So let's go to on-page optimization, best practices. This goes back to somebody's question from earlier, I think, Rich, but go ahead. Mention keywords in your content. I mentioned that. So if you have a keyword, we want to mention it. We do not want to keyword stuff. I have a warning on that later. On your target pages, I would recommend now a minimum of 400 words of content. Now, ideally for me on a sales page, I'd rather have a big call to action, and you can do that on the landing page if you're paying for ads. But I'd rather have, hey, great free offer, give us your information, here's this for you. But if you want to rank organically, you can't do that. It can't be just a sales page. You have to provide value or content. That's what Google wants. You want 400 words of content on a target page. When I say a target page, this is a page that you're building links to, and you're targeting for that keyword. So this, I'll keep this without getting too technical, is number one is, if you're going to build, if you have a web page, for example, Matt mentioned a URL, / just go to that Grass Valley Internet Marketing / local SEO. When you start putting out links or social signals on the internet that say local SEO, you're going to be pointing those to a particular page. You just don't want to link you send all your links to your home page. You want to send them to the appropriate page. An example would be the Zapatos.com or Zapatos.com. if you sent all your links to the homepage, they have like 1,000 different shoes. But if you were searching for women's dress shoes and they built a link that went to their women's dress shoe page, you are going to say, hey, I'm in the right spot. This is what I want. I didn't want 1,000 different shoes. I wanted women's dress. If I typed in men's basketball shoes and I went to a page that was their basketball shoes page, that's so you can build links and optimize and send them to a particular page. So that's a target page. Let's go one more. Even on your non-target pages now, we recommend a minimum of 300 keywords. So this might be a page that just has some general information about your company that you're not necessarily sending people to, that you don't really care if somebody comes there from a search. The whole thing about this now is providing valuable content, and also it's a shell game, all right? Everybody knows that you want to rank, Google knows you want to rank, but you got to rank by looking like that's not all you're trying to do. And you have to make it look like you're providing something of value to your consumers and stuff out there, and rank by not looking that's the only thing you're trying to do. It needs to be natural, spread out, and have some quality content. Yeah, Doug?
So what if your content's actually a video, so you don't have written words by it necessarily? You need to do both?
That's okay. If you have a content like you have a page with a video on it, if you're just sending people, that's an example. If you're sending people to that page, that's okay, but I would still recommend maybe writing a description about the video or some information on that page. It depends. If you have a ton of these in their blog, what's that?
It's not spider-ing video.
If it's in YouTube, now if you're putting a YouTube link on there and the YouTube is uploaded, they're scanning all of them in YouTube. YouTube will go through all videos. So if you're doing a video, you want to try and make sure you work in a keyword as is as well, because they are going to go through all that audio and put it into words. Yes?
So if you approach this as if you were educating someone, that might be the way to
Patricia, that's an excellent way. Her point was to look at it as education. Yes, in education-based sales and marketing is something that's been around for a long time. Some people use it, have been using it for a while offline in the different industries. But that is a great way to think about it online, is think about it as educating your customers, a good way to think about it. Next, do not keyword stuff. Keyword stuffing is, you guys remember the old days when you could look at a website, the old days like 5 years ago, you could look at a website and then like white font to match this, they would write like Grass Valley Chiropractor, Grass Valley Chiropractor, Grass Valley. So people would literally write it like 100 times in a row. Okay, don't do that. You'll get in trouble now. It's not going to work. They're going to catch it. They're going to push you down in the rankings. You can get in trouble. Just mention your keywords one time, as is. Just make sure you have that as is on a page. And then just write naturally. However it comes out naturally is fine. You don't need to go overboard on this. They will find it. Next slide.
How many keywords per page?
I generally target one for most of the pages. If they're really close or related, I'll do multiple. Like if I was doing Folsom SEO or SEO Folsom, those are two different words. I might put those on the same page. So I generally limit it to about 2, 3 at the most. So I would say 1 to 3 on a page as far as the amount of keywords. You also don't want to have one page and have all of your keywords on there. Not only that, well, let me save that for links. Go ahead. Warning, I think that's something I just already went over. Oh, duplicate content also. This comes up all the time. Duplicate content, duplicate pages. Duplicate content means that content's out there all over the internet. And I can't tell you how many times people have told me, clients have said, we don't have duplicate content. I don't have any, it's all, we wrote it, and then we'll do a scan. And here's a resource. You can go to copyscape.com, copyscape.com. And you can do a free search of your website, and I'll find it. We'll find snippets on their website or whole pages that are on 100, 200, 300 other websites out there. Oh, that's right, I did have an employee, or we remember this trade organization, they said we could use some of their stuff. You have to have unique content on your website. Now, it doesn't have to be unique ideas. There's only so much you can write about being a internet marketer or a mortgage guy or a donut shop or whatever your business is. But if you and everybody in this room all wrote about the same topic, we all wrote about mortgages, went to separate rooms, we would not have verbatim 100, 300, 500 words exactly the same. They would come out unique. That's what I mean by unique. Not the topic, but how the words are. It needs to be unique. So you don't want to have duplicate content. What's the problem with duplicate content? If you have it on your website.
How is it ranking?
It's going to hurt. It's not going to help you, but what's that?
Copyright.
Well, copyright could be it. And not only that, Google, once they index at one time, whoever got indexed first gets credit for it. So you don't even, it's like it doesn't even exist. It doesn't do you any good. And pretty soon you're going to be getting in trouble. It's going over your score too.
So you write a blog post, you also put it up on Google Plus, and you maybe put it up on Facebook. It says the same thing. That's going to work against you?
No, this is on your website, and what I would suggest, what I talked about earlier, is if you have a blog post, I would put a small snippet of it with a link back to the full article. Susie?
How does Huffington Post do it? Because theirs is all Google.
Well, you can write opinions, and I'm not familiar with Huffington Post, other than it's a huge site, but I don't know if this will address your question, but you can also write opinion articles, and they're also an aggregator. That can be an aggregator or curator, we call it, of information.
Right.
Generally, how I would recommend, and sometimes some of the larger places, and they have big budgets and other things they're doing, but for the average local business, is you can still reference another article. I'm going to get that in blogs in a minute. You can still reference or write your opinion on a blog article, but a small snippet in it with an outbound link to the full article. That also can help you now, so you have some stuff float off of your website, and then what you do is write your opinion about that article, or your take, or why you think it's valuable for your reader to read it. That's one of the best ways to get some blog material.
Real quick, I wanted to say, if you write your original content on your blog and you let it indexed first, you can actually +1 Google plus your own article later, and then put your content out there. Mostly that really works.
Well, it's a great tip. So what she said was, put your blog up on your own website before you do anything. Wait
Until it's indexed.
Wait until it's indexed, or wait a couple days and go and +1 your own article. That's going to get into some links. Let's move ahead here. I want to make sure I get through all this. Let's go next. Empty pages just mean blank pages. Don't have blank pages. Don't have pages that you decided you were going to name it this, and then you decided you were going to change the name, and then you left this old URL out there. Happens all the time. I just looked at the client yesterday, 23 crawl errors, because they decided they want to change these names. These pages are indexed by Google and now show 404 errors. Makes you look like you have a bad web page. If you're going to change a name, forward your old page to your new page. Yes?
Well, I was thinking, like, if somebody has an HTML site and you're going to WordPress, they're not going to have the same URL. So you'd have to do forward pages for all the...
No, you can match those if you want. You could type them into WordPress, but otherwise, yes, any ones you might have to do a page-to-page redirect. Did that recently with a mortgage company that changed names. We did 80 page-to-page redirects. We took XYZ company /mortgage to ABC companies /mortgage and forward them. You can do a page-to-page redirect. That's a little higher of a technical term. If anybody wants to talk about a 301 redirect or something afterwards, we can get into that. Let's stay on some of this. Let's go to the next page here. Now, when we go for a client, I'll just give you an example. You can get a lot deeper than that. Go ahead and click one more time. What we just covered is good enough, is most of what we need to do, but you can get real deep on this. You can get your website design analysis, you can get your website structure, which is how should your URLs be laid out. Backlink analysis I mentioned earlier, page and title report, content analysis, duplicate page. So these are some things that you really want to do, because you want to do this really well, because you're going to do it one time. And from then on, you're doing the content, social signals, and links. So let's get into some of those so I can have good 15 or 20 minutes on that. Okay, let's click first. I'm going to go ahead and start back to this. I'm going to start with links first, if we get a click. Let's just be clear on what a link is, so that people that aren't familiar with that term, link is just short for hyperlink. If you have, it's usually underlined. The most common one out there was click here, and you click on it, and it can take you to a variety of different pages. For our discussion, it's when you're taking you to another web page. So from here, website A has an outbound link, website B has an inbound link. And for a long time, SEO was really focused on inbound links. The more links, one more slide. The more links you had, the higher you ranked. So this site would outrank this site, because it has more links if these arrows represent links. Make sense? All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, though, link best practices are, and I'm not going to get into these in detail, but these are a couple big updates, Pangolin, Panduin, and then Hummingbird is a new algorithm that they actually replaced within the last 2 to 3 months. There's a whole new algorithm. It's one more click. We want to have them, let's go ahead one more. We want the links to look natural, so let's go one more click. The most powerful way actually is what we call earned links now. That's getting to earned links, where people put links that you don't do. They share your Google Plus comments. They put it out and they show other people what you've done. Or they put a link to your article on their blog that they saw. Those are earned links. That means you provided something, valuable content that somebody else is doing. That doesn't mean you still can't do some links. Let's do one more slide. So what are some of the easy ways to do links? You should still be in the major directories. Yellowpages.com, Manta, HotFrog. There's different websites that are large directories. You can also do some local and niche directories. For example, in Folsom, we have a big site called Folsom Living. You can put your website in that. If you have something related to your industry that you're in or your geographic area, I would get in those. In your social posts that you do, you can put links back to your website. If you do YouTube videos, I know a couple of people mentioned that, you can put a URL back to your website in your description there. You have to type out the full HTTP, but you can put a link back. If you're active in any forums or blog areas, sometimes when you fill out your profile, you're allowed to have a link back to your website, or if you make a comment, if you're not doing it the spam way, you're a legitimate contributor, you can have some of those options. But I would worry where links used to be first. I'm going to put those behind content and social signals now for this discussion. One other thing is you want to have a consistent, what we call NAP, name, address, and phone number. Consistent. So if you've moved businesses, you've changed phone numbers, you have a Google Plus listing with this phone number and a Bing listing with that phone number and a Yellow Pages with this address, make it clean. That goes towards your store. Have them all be consistent. What does that mean? If you've changed addresses, you need to go back through. So keep a list of where you have these. Go back through and update them. But you want to have a consistent name, address, and phone number. Yes?
On the address, let's say you have the address 517 West spelled out, Broad Street, or 517W Broad Street. Does that make a difference, and should they all be?
You know, what you have already, I don't know if I knocked myself change, but yes, I would keep them exactly the same if you can, as you go forward. So just pick one and go with that and be consistent with it. It can't do you any harm by having them all exactly the same. The other way, it doesn't. I don't think it would hurt you, but why not be safe? Jeff?
Are you strictly using YouTube, or do you use Vimeo or anything else?
Personally, I use YouTube. Vimeo's good too, but I use YouTube because Google owns them and it's connected to Google, and we're trying to rank on Google. So make sure if you're going to do something, maybe you can do both, but I would make sure you use them. I think did I see another hand over here? No? Are we just stretching? Okay, next slide. Link building warnings. Let's go. Do not use link farms. Those are popular. Hey, $100, 1,000 links, 500 links. That's spam. You're going to get in trouble for that. Let's keep going. For those of you that know what the anchor text is in a link, vary your anchor text in your links. Don't do Nevada chiropractor in every link you build. Vary your link text. That's an advanced term I can talk to you about. I just want to get through some of these. Do not link to all the same page. This came up earlier. You do not look like you have a full and complete website of all of your links. So if you have a home page right here, and then you have, contact us, resources, services, products, and you have 100 links, and 99 of them are going to that home page. That does not look really good to Google. What would look a lot better is 20 here, 20 here, 20 here, 20 here, 20 here, or spread around your contact pages. Does that make sense? Let's go one more deeper here while I'm here on don't make posts and sites that are real. So don't go post a link to your website or make a comment on a Bolivian watchmaker website if you're a Grass Valley mortgage broker.
Or Britney Spears.
Or Britney Spears forum. Also, for example, I know one of the things they like is a lot of this is about being user-friendly now with Google. Where it used to be all about doing it for the robots. Now the robots are figuring out what's set up to be user-friendly for humans. So for example, if you have a services page, then you have service A, B under this, you should have home page. This should be its own page. So if somebody clicked on services, your URL /services is its own page. And then on that page, you can put a little description of all of your different services. You don't want to have, now when somebody goes to this page right here, page for product A, you're going to the name of your website /services /product A. You don't want to have your URL straight to product A. All right, so that's just a little thing on website design there is for SEO purposes. I'm not designing as far as graphics or other types of things, but as far as being SEO friendly, you want all of these so that you have a nice hierarchy for your URL structure. Okay? So a lot of people are very familiar with WordPress in this room and use it or use other types of things, so structure your websites like that. Content. Ways to produce content, we've already gone over. There's a lot. We did some brainstorming earlier. For our purposes today, I'm going to talk about blogs. So I've got 15 minutes, so we'll go into blogs. So let's go one more. What are some different ways? There's a lot of different things that you can do. One of the easiest things to do is if you're struggling, you can tell people, educate people, which was a great tip earlier from Patricia. One of the other things you can do that's really easy is do industry articles or industry news. I'll give you an example. If we did work for a home tutor, they had home tutoring for math tutoring. Saw an article in the San Francisco Chronicle that said if your child fails Freshman algebra, 40% will never catch back up again in math ever. Okay, here's a nice article. Here's a little snippet of it, and we talked about that earlier. I've limited it to 200 words or less. Hey, look at this. If your child is struggling with math, this study shows that, man, they're really up a creek here. 40% are never in their life going to catch back up to math again. So, if you notice your child's struggling, you might want to look for the services of Math Tutor in Roseville, California. Give us a call. Here's a link to our website. There's a perfect blog article that you can do. So keep your eyes open for industry-type news, and you can give your take, your opinion on it. And that also, a lot of times, help with the brain cramps that we have on trying to come up with all these topics for blogging. Next. Blogging best practices. I would go at least 350 words on a blog. If
Per article?
Yes. That's what we have as our minimum. You can go on up from there if you're getting in the flow. Don't write. Everybody has different theories. I personally wouldn't write one that's 1,000. I would break it into a 3-parter and get 3 out of it. So you can do that too. But I have plenty that are 400, 450 words long. I'm not going to do another one just because I went a little bit over. I want to finish that thought and get my point across. Next. Mention one of your keywords. Do not write the article for your keyword. Write a good article, then go back in and see where you can insert one of your keywords. So, let me say that one more time.
What do you mean insert?
Very good question. What do you mean insert? So, what I want to say is we want to write articles that are educational and user-friendly. That's the whole push for Google. So if you see an article that you want to write well, for example, let's go back to the example I had about the article that we saw about kids struggling with math when they failed algebra. Go back in at some point after you write your opinion on the article. You're writing your article, you're writing your opinion from the point of what would be valuable for my customers to know about this. Then once you write it, you can go back in and say, okay, now I know I want to rank for Math Tutor Roseville. Where's a good place that I can now insert that makes sense in that article, that blog post that I wrote? So then go back in and say, therefore, if you're struggling, it might make sense for you to have your child get assistance from a Math Tutor in Roseville. That sounds natural. There's nothing wrong with having that in the content. But at least that way your mindset is on producing value instead of writing about that key word. So I like to write the article, then keep a list of my key words, and make sure I'm getting through all of them, and put one of them into my blog article, because that's going to get scanned by Google, and you want to have your keyword. And you'll see now some of the search results, instead of going to a major page like services, they might be going straight to that blog article that you wrote.
You use the word keyword singular. What about like hearing bunions? Is that become?
Yes. It's still a singular word. It's one term, whether it has the S on it or not, whether you're referring to multiple things. What's that?
But it's not going to capture it as a key word if it's two words.
No, it will. It'll catch the phrase. So if somebody types in, I need help with my bunions, and you have bunions in there, it'll match it up. Doug?
Let's say you do a YouTube video and you use your keywords in it, and say it's got 300 words in it, and then you run that YouTube as a video on your site, on a blog post. Does it then transfer those keywords from the YouTube video into your site?
No. We can talk. Let's go on to the next slide. But that's still valuable. You have video, you have connected to your account, you're putting a video on your website, you have content, you have a link from YouTube to your site. And there's a lot of good, but it's not going to put those words on your website. And then you want to try and put an internal link in your blog article to your appropriate web page. So for example that I gave on the Math Tutor, let's go back to that example again. Then you would want to have a link on there for more information about Math Tutor. So, or even that phrase for Math Tutor Roseville, you might want to make that a link to your Math Tutor page on your website. So somebody's reading about that topic, they can then click on it and they'll find out what you offer for it. Make sense? Over here.
Yeah, I have heard that you should never have links to other people's websites because people will leave yours and then not come back to it.
Well, that's a little bit different, and that's going through the sales process, and I would agree with you, but if you're providing value and you want to have an article in your blog and you're providing something of value and they're not necessarily in your sales funnel, for example, if you had an online store or you were selling something online and you had a booklet, and right when you got to the buy now, it said, by the way, we'd really like to thank these people that we contribute our part of our profits to, and here's a couple of companies that we also think you'd like to check their products out. You never want to divert their attention when you're going for the sale. But in the blog area here, if you have a concern about that, then don't do any of these opinion articles and don't put, you can always just write about what you want, how-tos, other things. But this is a good way to be able to write information. I don't really think in a blog article you're going to run that risk. You're providing value to them, and you're showing them a valuable article out there, and you're giving them some information. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's cover a couple important things here. For their solution to content issues is publisher tag and author. Anybody's heard of that? Who's heard of publisher and authorship? Okay, so publisher, let's go one more clip. Publisher is, go one more, is a way that links Google Plus to your website and vice versa, so you can respond to reviews and things on Google Plus. I don't have time to get into this and the details, but basically you can do a Google search for this, and you can go to Google and there's a little code that you put on your website that will then link this to your website. Okay? Next one is Google Authorship. Google Authorship links your Google Plus profile to the content you were creating. Give me one more click. That's where you'll see pictures, people's picture in there, because when you create your Google Plus profile, you're going to put a picture. A lot of times, that's where it's pulling it from. And this is the answer to get rid of some of that duplicate content. What Google Author does is now as you create this content, you're getting credit for it. So you're building an online brand as being a content contributor and producer, which is what they're looking for. So for this, the only one I'm going to cover is if you have HTML or some other website, go do a search for this. If you have WordPress, you can actually get a plugin. If you have WordPress, you know how to use it, just do a plugin for Google Author, and you can get the code, put it in there. Now, every blog that you produce on your website is going to be connected to your profile, which is connected to your Google Plus account, which is now going to help you. But now you're getting maximum credit for all this blogging, these articles that you're doing through Google. Yes?
Is that what's called Google Author plugin?
If you go into WordPress and you do a search for a Google, just pick one. I always pick one that has a lot of downloads, that has 4 or 5 stars. You're good. Next, social signals. So we need social activities, social signals. Go ahead, next. So I think the easiest way, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. I think the easiest, whoops, well, I can't remember what I have, but let's leave that here. One of the easiest ways to start being active, and this is not a social media course, and what we do for our clients is we do social signals and have social activity, but we're not doing a full-blown social media campaign. I'm not out there trying to get 10 friends and 100 likes. What we're trying to do, though, is we know that we need to have some activity in those realms. So what we do is when we have a blog post, we then will announce those blog posts out through social media channels. Facebook, Google+. Hey, here is a new article on why you really need a math tutor if your child is struggling at an algebra. Here's the link back to our website. So you can do that on a variety of things. Now you're getting social signals. You're also helping yourself with some links back to your site. Next one. You can also do them on social distribution sites where you can bookmark, do certain things. You can even do it on off-site blogs. It can get really, really complicated and sophisticated down the road. Yes?
Constant Contact and MailChimp, distribution site?
No, those are autoresponders, and those are good to have. Yes, our Constant Contact and MailChimp social distribution sites. Those are automated email programs, and that's part of the follow-up that I'll get to if we have any time. Let's hold questions. Actually, let me power through this, and I'll hang out as long as I can. I got 5 more minutes.
Does Pinterest come into any of this?
Yes, yeah, I don't have that on there. I personally don't use it, but Pinterest has mostly a lot of women use it. If you have something that's very visual, like you're a wedding dress maker or something like that, Pinterest you certainly want to be on as well. Next. So I already covered this. The easiest way to start is to blog your content. Include a link back to the full article on your website. If you can include a picture, that always helps. It makes posts look a lot nicer when you see a nice little graphic or picture there. And you can always include some related hashtags. If you want hashtags, it's just a pound sign. So you could say, hey, check out this article. Let's continue with the example I gave about the a home tutor. You could put, hashtag, Sacramento tutor or hashtag math tutor. You can code in some of your words in there as well if you want to do that.
Any other thoughts on that?
Well, if they still know businesses, but consumers are still consumers and human nature never changes, whether it's a small town or big town, so I still say if you can have something valuable information for them. An example would be, let's say you were looking for a business coach, 20 years experience, 80 years combined experience. Oh, we're really great. A roofer, 20 years of combined experience. 20 years, we do it right, quality. Or you look at 3 roofers and one said, hey, you might not need a roof. Find out how we save our ex-client $10,000. Or, if you're a coach, hey, 3 steps you can do right now to increase revenue 20% over the next 90 days on your own. Those aren't going to work for everybody, but if you start talking about 100 people come to your website, and that appeals to 3 to 5 of them, that's 3 to 5 leads you didn't have, and it could have thousands of dollars in sales in there. So those are some of the things that I would probably look for, because you can't always assume that people know as much as you think they know, even in a small area. Yes.
That was a great presentation, wow. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Well, I covered a lot, so Mario,
I know you'll get it.
Okay. Corian told me to get technical, so, you know, if you're really confused, it's not my fault.
Hootsuite, things like that for automating the distribution out, do you like them?
I do like Hootsuite. There are some studies that say for Facebook that you're supposed to go in, they want you to log in and do it, but Hootsuite, this question was Hootsuite, automated things, TweetDeck's another one. There's automated things where you go to one place and have it go out to multiple social media places. That's a great time saver. Hootsuite, that's Hootsuite, like a room suite. Hootsuite.com, you can make a post, then right there you can have it go to Facebook, Google+, Twitter. You don't have to go to all your different ones, is what Doug is bringing up. I do like those tools, they're a good time saver. Yes, Tim?
This is kind of
Jeff, I'll
a
get you.
difficult question, but how do you help a client find the keywords that work for them rather than what they think are the keywords?
So Tim was, how do I find a client by looking for words that really...
No, how do you help a client build his website, find the keywords that work for him, put them in there rather than what they think work for him?
Okay, first of all, I just have to tell them these are the words that people are searching for. Sometimes they have preconceived notions, so I will show them. And as of right now, we can get the traffic, the search traffic. Typically, what we do is we take all the words that can possibly describe what they do, all the geographic areas, and we spin them all every possible way, mix and match them in Excel, so that we will check anywhere from 1 to 300 different variations. The cream will always rise to the top, and there'll be a pool that have the highest search volume. Always. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 20 out of 300, whatever it is, but there's going to be a group that have higher search volume. At that point, I'm going to sit down and say, Tim, now you can spend money. They're doing 5 searches and they're doing 500 for this one. Which one do you want us to do? Okay, then let's put that one in all the websites, in all the places we know it's supposed to be. Jeff?
Did you see any negatives for sending several domain names to one URL?
I would, sending several domain names to one URL. No, but if you have different domain names, first of all, anytime you have a separate domain name, that's a separate SEO campaign. You have to separately market those SEOs. If you're talking, you had abc.com, you happen to know that people just type in XYZ, if you have that term, you can just set it up as an automatic forward at your, where you have your domain registered. I would just set that up, just automatically have it forward, but I wouldn't try and get tricky with it at all or have mirror sites or anything that's strange about that.
Great.
Is that good?
Yeah, very good. Great. Okay, guys, so we have about 10 minutes left here. Let's move on to sponsor raffle. If you have not yet put your business card in here, you may regret that because we're going to do a raffle
You have a
that's
second.
sponsored by Broad Street Inn. And so if you get up here quickly if you want to get it. We're going to draw this in a
Yeah,
second.
thanks, Chad.
And, Valerie, come on up.
So every month, we ask for somebody to sponsor so we can continue this because that's kind of what we do. And we were really lucky to receive Valerie from Broad Street Inn as our sponsor because does anybody know where Broad Street Inn is? Raise your hand. Has anybody stayed there?
That's great.
That's great. Okay, paid advertisement there. No, it's you guys as a, oh, your cousin. Oh, that's great. As a family business, they have pulled this together so beautifully, this beautiful old home that has been a bed and breakfast in the past, but when did you buy it?
About 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago, and really made it beautifully homey. It's on the corner of West Broad and Bennett, right by on the way to American Hill. There are brochures in the back, and Valerie's going to pick the lucky person and then tell us a little bit about what it is. Yeah.
Ruth Schwartz.
Oh, Ruth. All right.
I'm a winner.
Yeah, you are. You're a winner. Here. How old is it? Valerie's going to tell us more.
I have a gift certificate for a one-night stay, and Susie pretty much covered it. We're a small family-owned 6-room inn in downtown Nevada City. We do not provide breakfast, but we do offer reasonable rates and midweek business discounts. We also encourage our guests to go downtown to eat at some of the great restaurants down there. We're pet-friendly, eco-friendly, and anytime you're in town and you want to stop by for a tour, you're welcome to.
They're just friendly all the way around. Thank you, Valerie. So if you want to be our next sponsor, please see myself or Corianne Machen had to leave, but we really
Mainly talk to Machen.
Mainly talk to Machen, but you can use us as a conduit to get there. And the next meeting is going to be Tuesday, February 25th, thank you. And you know who's coming.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the next speaker. Barbara Reed is a marketing professor at Sac State University. She is also a business advisor and counselor through the SBDC, which is the Sierra Business Development Corporation. She is a fantastic speaker, really knowledgeable about marketing, and I've been able to speak at a few of her classes and see her teach. Don't miss it, February 25th. We'll be back here at 11 a.m. Please invite your friends, let people know that we got a new location and the momentum is continuing to build. We have a few minutes here, so if we can just start moving toward the exits, and please feel free to hang out outside as long as you want.
Thank
All
you
day
all
if you want.
very much. We'll see you next month. Use our Facebook site for queries and stuff.